I just about literally just walked in the door from my first con. I will have a video about that coming at some point in the hopefully near future. But I got a box that, of course, had to arrive on Saturday when it was raining and I wasn't home. At the time of recording this, it is Sunday night, so this box is a little beat up near me, but I have two new canes. I'm going to give a quick first impression of both, assuming I can figure out which is which, and kind of talk a little bit about why I got them and what I might be able to use them for. And this is kind of following up on the last video I did featuring a new telescoping cane that's available on Amazon. I will put a link to that video in the description. Here, we're going to take a look at a couple canes from Arizona, brought to you by Sedona Dave. All right, we're not doing anything super official here, but I have the two canes with me. The box was a little bit wet, but the bags themselves, other than a little damp on the outside, appear to be mostly okay. We're going to look at two different canes from Awarewolf gear, and they were designed for two very different purposes. And again, as I talked about in the last video, neither of these are necessarily cheap. So we're going to move the big guy aside for a moment and talk about this little fella here. It's called the Urban Explorer. Explorer spelled, I believe, with an X. This guy is meant, as the name might suggest, for conquering your sidewalks, your subway platforms, all of those types of things. And on reaching in here, we have obviously a cane, which is a good sign. It does appear to be wrapped in some form of material. It also have some form of a strip of material here. Might just be to kind of keep it rigid. I don't know if there's any text on it, but I will. Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of text going on for this guy. So I'll try to get a little bit of a look at that. It might be sideways, I apologize, but that's the Urban Explorer, and I'm going to unwrap it real quick, get it out of the bag, and I'll cut back to myself in a second. All right, here she is. This is the Urban Explorer, and I will save very specific looks at materials and things like that for when I have the opportunity to do more testing with this guy. It did come with a keychain attached to the top. I'm not sure what visual elements are present. The only thing I could find fairly definitively on the tactile side rather, is this X in Braille right here, which makes sense for the Explorer. So very cool. I will keep the keychain with the cane for the present moment. And as we take a little bit of a tour, you will see that the grip section has kind of a bizarre, I don't know if there's a logo cut in the top or what the thing is, but it's not the traditional like rubbery material. To me, it almost feels like a cloth or a fabric of some description as a handle, which is interesting. And it does have a unique feature that is present with its folding and the way that the handle works and things like that. So I'm going to see what I can do about showing that to you here. All right, I have unfolded the cane, and this is short. I had a little bit of a customer service, I guess, miscommunication of sorts. I was hoping to get the extra large model of the Explorer. This is the large, and the reason that they waited on that is because they're not going to have them until, I believe, December. I was happy to wait till December, but he swapped it out for the large, and so I have that in hand right now, which is okay for testing and doing some demo work. I think I'll be all right. So we start up at the top. We have the keychain and the loop, which for those who may not know, this loop is used to fold the cane over itself. And similarly to the Ambutech cane that I talked about in my last video, we have a bit of a cap that keeps the frayed ends of the bungee together. The nut, which actually is a little loose on this guy, I'll have to pull that tighter on my own, kind of leads us down the rest of the way, and that's where the keychain is currently hanging out. So he is there. We get to the grip. Now, here's the fun stuff. This grip is actually somewhat similar to the telescoping feature of the other cane that I just featured on this channel. in that it has a lock and unlock feature. And the lock, if I can do it with one hand, which I can, allows me to open up this latch piece on the cane itself and now bring my handle up and make it longer. And I can almost get a full, I'd say about half a cane section's worth out of it. And if I were to close that here, I go from armpit length on me to about shoulder. So here's where it was, and here what I'll do is I'll keep the camera as steady as I can. We're going to open that piece back up, slide the handle back down. Not the smoothest, but it does work. And I'll close it again. So I believe it just about went out of frame. So yeah, it gives you half a cane section. Weight-wise, it doesn't feel heavy, but it doesn't feel light. It's kind of in the middle for me. I will get the chance to test this out, hopefully over the next, few days and weeks. We do have some tactile on the cane itself, which I just noticed. And does it say anything in Braille, or is it? I can't tell if this is print or Braille. We'll get back to you on that, but there is some tactile of some description that I am having trouble making heads or tails of at the minute, but I'll get you a look at it on the camera. So I will have more on this cane specifically, following some testing and taking a look at it and spending some time with it. That is the Urban Explorer. Let's move on to what might be considered the flagship for Awarewolf gear and Sedona Dave, and that is the ATC, the all-terrain cane. Okay, so this is what you would arguably maybe call the big brother to the Urban Explorer. This is kind of the original model of cane that Awarewolf gear is founded on, and there are interview sections with Sedona Dave talking about him being an avid hiker, losing his vision and kind of struggling with finding something that can kind of double as a hiking aid as well as a white cane. And the first bizarre thing is that you have to fold this thing essentially upside down or backwards, depending on how you think about it. But you have to put the loop on the cane from the top of the cane down the grip, and it's resting 2/3 of the way down. And so that is the deal with this very long grip handle. And the reason for that is you have plenty of room to choke up on the cane as you're hiking. I believe this one is made of some sort of a titanium. Again, specifics on specs and materials will come when I have more time with this to test it out. There are some little edges on the joints that appear to be a little rough at first contact, so I'm not sure if that's typical, but I have found that on the Urban Explorer as well. Not good or bad, just notable. We're going to unfold this and take a look. All right, so here it is unfolded. Again, we're dealing with a pretty short cane. If I stand up, we're actually about the same length as the Urban Explorer here, kind of armpit on me personally. If I unlock our grip adjustment here, and I don't know if I'm actually going to get this on camera, but do my best. I'll hold it down with my feet, and I'm trying to pull up, and it's unfolding the cane. Not exactly what I'm after here. Come on. So I'm attempting to do this whilst filming, which is not, I'll say it's not working. Hold on. Again, we'll talk price and more specifics when I do a review, because I don't want to tell you, oh, it's, because one of, I even got, and I appreciate it, but I got a discount, not sponsored. I did get a discount because I was reaching out asking about demo units, so that I can use these for some of my professional work. But neither of these are cheap. And what I want to do in terms of a review, if you have any specific questions about either of these canes, please let me know, and I will do my best to answer them either when I do my reviews or in a separate video down the road. So we have a very similar top of the cane, actually really exactly the same as the Urban Explorer. And no keychain on this guy, but there is a keychain on the Explorer, so there's a difference, I suppose. There is a kind of a flat section on this grip, which I did not perceive on the Explorer, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I wasn't looking for it. And then when we hit the bottom section, it becomes rounded, and I'm imagining that's for gripping as you're hiking. If I go ahead and unlock us, bring it back on down. Relatively compact, again, not super heavy, also not super light. So I think it kind of exists at a middle ground, so to speak, in terms of weight. It's very rigid. I'm used to very light canes. I prefer very light canes, so this is going to be a bit of an adjustment for me personally, but it is what it is. And we have our white, our red, and then their proprietary roly-boly tip. I'm not a rolling tip guy, to be 100% honest with you. I find that they're heavy and clunky. To Awarewolf Gear's credit, this is fairly quiet, at least rolling on itself, it's not making a racket, and it seems pretty lightweight. So even putting it on the floor and rolling across, it doesn't seem nearly as obnoxious as some of the others that I've used. That, however, remains to be seen. I have flipped back the camera so that you are now looking at my face with the all-terrain cane on my shoulder. There is also the same tactile features on this cane that seem to be present on the other cane. And this one actually might say all-terrain in Braille, but I'm reading it upside down, so I'm guessing. Again, if you have specific questions on this cane, please let me know. The only other thing I wanted to note right off is that this cane actually only folds up into 1, 2, 3 sections. And that is a big difference and makes it a little bit less travelable than some of its more collapsible brethren, such as the Explorer, which by my count in my hand right now has 5 sections to it. So just some differences, things to note. Again, if you have questions, please ask. This is just purely a reaction, first impressions. Overall thoughts. I like both of these, and I like the potential of both of these. How they work is going to really determine how hard I am on them in terms of a review, because the canes that I've had have worked and had some really fantastic pros and cons. And so I am really interested to see how these stack up, comparatively speaking. And again, I will do a video probably after my professional engagement in Virginia, which is going to take place in about a week and a few days. That way it gives me some time to use these around my job, potentially take these on the road a little bit, and see how they handle as compared with my NFB cane, with the telescoping cane that I talked about last time. And the reason I keep not naming that one is because it doesn't seem to have a very good title. So, yeah, that's the deal with that. So if you have any questions about any of these, please let me know. As I test them, I'm happy to keep an eye or ear or a finger on certain things. If there's something that you would like to know more about, please let me know. With all of that said, I will talk to you all soon. Thank you for watching, and we will see you with a more in-depth look at these canes down the road. Peace.